Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final episode of Fan Fiction for the season. I'm your host, Jack Shipley, and I have some terrible news. There's no real easy way to put this out there, so I'm just going to kind of say it. Unfortunately, due to extreme technical difficulties, the Maltins are not able to make it to today's show. We didn't want to do another show with the same fighters, which we had last week, which I'll introduce here just a second, but we didn't want to basically do the same show twice. So we're coming on to let you know that unfortunately there will not be a fan fiction for today. However, we're going to just try to spend a little bit of time with you. We're going to go over our questions for today, talk about our speed rounds, get you all involved, and just talk movies for about 20 minutes or so before we head into the holiday season. So with no further ado, let me introduce all of our guests. You saw them last week. We have Jonathan Youngblood.
Woo!
Oops, wait, it was on me. Sorry, Jonathan Youngblood.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And hello, Leonard and Jessie. Sad we couldn't meet you today, but next time.
Garrett McDowell.
Hello, everyone. I am just happy to be here. Thanks for even considering having us on this show. It would have been a super, super fun time, and maybe we can do it in the future.
That is my hope as well. Kimber Barrett, your champion, is here.
Hey, yeah, sorry about that technical difficulties and that it didn't go the way we wanted, but yeah, again, everything these guys said, they're all right.
And you have someone with you. Your fiance Tom is also here. Odd Shape Channel is representing. So Tom, come say hello.
Hey.
Way to slide in. And of course, our fact checkers are Ashley and Joe Davis. Thanks, guys, for being here today.
We can't have nearly the amazing dynamic entry Tom just did, but yes, we're here, and we were going to check your tweets and your facts and the chat. I'll still do that, but it's going to be like 100% less polls and stuff like that.
Like I did so much prep work for this show because I knew I needed to be on my A game, because what do I know compared to someone like Leonard? So I have a lot of fun facts once we get into some more of our little discussion. We're so bummed they couldn't be here, but again, technical difficulties. I'm surprised something like this has not happened before with the internet.
For 3 seasons at this point, and we've actually been able to get everyone on pretty well. But this time, you know, we did build the show around our Maltin visit today, so that's why it's difficult to put on a show for you that is so heavily steeped in, you know, having them here. So hopefully we'll be able to reschedule them and get them back next year. So since we're all here, let's talk a little bit about what we were going to do today and just have a discussion, and especially because BFF will still be going on tonight, right, guys? Before you muted yourself. They gave the thumbs up. Yes, it will go on.
Yes, we will be going tonight. And when we get to the round where our movie was in, we'll reveal what the BFF is, and we'll talk about it for a second.
Nobody guessed it on Twitter.
No one.
Even though I thought it was pretty obvious, but
no prizes for any of you.
Well, somebody will get a prize.
All right, so you still there's a participation trophy.
It's a participation prize. We knew this would happen one day.
Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. I have a bunch of speed round questions. Why don't we just pick one at random, and we'll just kind of shout out our answers. And then if you're watching at home, use "This is tough" hashtag "This is tough" or in the chat, and we'll throw out some of your answers too. So here's some of the questions. Ashley and Joe, you don't usually get to pick when you're on the couch, but I'll let you guys pick one first. I did humbug, cartoon villainy, everybody cut, diary of a nerdy kid, or a party like it's 2017.
Nerdy kid.
Nerdy kid.
Nerdy kid. Diary nerdy kid. Okay. So the question would have been, after finishing a season of Stranger Things, what is the best movie to watch for more of those sweet upside down feels?
Dang.
And everybody can jump in. Feel free to.
Full disclosure.
Flight of the Navigator.
I haven't seen Stranger Things. So
Jonathan,
I'm
get out of the seat right now. You go to work. Because you don't deserve to be here.
Ashley brought up Aliens. Totally. There's at least 2.
Oh, Aliens is a great pick.
And y'all have
upside down feels. What do you mean by that?
If you've seen Stranger Things, a movie that makes you feel like you're continuing the journey of Stranger Things, a movie that is indicative of all the things you get from that show.
I would say the newest It.
Ooh, the newest It. Ooh. Nice. That's a good pick. I would go Goonies, which is pretty much on the head choice. So if you guys are in Twitter here and you have some picks, hopefully you're all still watching, or someone is. The one person who's still here who has nothing else to do this Sunday morning, please tell us what you would pick.
David Bowman said Goonies as well.
All right, Bowman.
Nolan Dean and Sam Anderson brought up It as well, the new It.
That's actually a really good pull. I like that pull. That's a really good one, I think. I'm sorry, Tom, what?
It helps us in the new It.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Mhm.
That's a good call. I didn't even think of that. That's a really good pull. I like that pull.
Also,
A bunch of kids coming together to defeat a horrifying monster, kind of works.
Molly said, "Stand by Me."
Ooh.
Oh, very good for the train track scenes. Very nice.
Yeah, another cool thing about it is that there's like a fan theory that Bob was trying to get them to go move with him because he was when he told his Mr. Baldo story, it kind of lines up with Pennywise.
Oh.
And he was trying to get them to return to
bring them
Derry,
back
Maine.
so he could fight Pennywise.
Nice. I want to see that crossover like right now.
Billy Callahan also dropped Firestarter in there.
Very good. Nice.
And Sam Catlin said, "Porky, those kids in 5 years." Porkies.
And then there's Sam. Thanks for contributing, Sam. We really appreciate it. So I would have given the points just on the picks. I think it's a really great pick for this one. I would have given the point to Garrett. So let's talk about round one. So round one, we were going to discuss which two characters in film have the best father and daughter relationship. So as you probably know from watching the show before, we have 3 fighters on our side and the Maltins. So the way we were going to do it was sort of a team up. And the guys have all the guys and gal have all split up to take team for each fight. So this team was originally going to be Jonathan and Garrett, and the question was which two characters in film have the best father-daughter relationship. So what did you guys pick for that round?
We went with To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yep, To Kill a Mockingbird.
Nice. You were going deep cut, and I'm sure they would have had a lot of good things to say about that too, because they were going to choose Paper Moon.
Yes.
Which I believe is the movie that you guys have chosen for BFF this week, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the only one that both of us hadn't seen out of the other movie choices in the show. And so tonight at 7 Eastern, we will talk about that movie and some other things. And your guess, everyone's hilarious guesses, because I put To Kill a Mockingbird as the clue, because everybody always guesses that for BFF. It's like, do you guys not realize I've seen that a million times?
She teaches it.
Yeah, I teach that book every year. So, and my cat's name is Atticus. So.
Were there any interesting facts that you had dug up for those two movies?
I had some old facts about To Kill a Mockingbird, because this is, I think, the 3rd time that To Kill a Mockingbird's been argued on the show. Once by me, once by Charlie, and then this would have been the 3rd time. So, like, the 50th anniversary, the film was aired commercial-free on the USA Network by the recommendation of President Obama. It's in the National Film Registry. Gregory Peck read the book in one day and decided to be Atticus. So it's definitely something that holds up.
Any picks from Twitter, guys? What did you think out there about father-daughter relationships?
I'm checking. Sam just posted a picture of Sully hugging Boo from Monsters Inc. And I can get that. That's like a non-conventional father-daughter relationship.
That's a great pick.
Yeah, we were wondering about that. Does it because Jonathan had said Gifted, which came out this past year, which it's technically her uncle, but they have a very father-daughter relationship. So it, like in the words of Guardians of the Galaxy, dude, if he might be your father, but he's not your daddy,
Yeah.
Yondu, yeah.
Well, if you think about Paper Moon, it's kind of the same thing where there's like an iffy situation where is this person really her father? But they're kind of paired up and he serves that role for her. And of course, it's played by real life father and daughter, Ryan and Tatum O'Neal. She won an Oscar for her role as Best Supporting Actress, which is just criminal to me because she's in the whole movie practically. But I guess because she was a kid, they're like, you can be a supporting actress, even though she holds her own pretty well for the first time that she, ever acted on screen. So she did a pretty good job.
And I think, of course, the obvious answer is Darth Vader and Princess Leia, who had a very normal relationship.
Of course.
No, I'm kidding. But actually, my pick would have been a sideways pick of Maggie, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger plays a father of a daughter who has basically a zombie virus. and she's slowly turning to be a zombie, and he's kind of dealing with, you know, they want to carve his daughter, and he, you know, he's trying to protect her. It's actually a surprisingly good movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger in a different kind of role than you've seen him in before, and I do recommend that movie.
The obvious answer is
Commando. You know, he kills like 80 people just to get his daughter. That's not a bad dad, you know.
He makes fun of Boy George in that film. And
Tom, you have something too? You look like you were going to say something.
Yeah, Tom and Kimber
Yeah,
had a pick too.
I was wondering if clones count because my pick was Logan.
Yeah.
Logan and X-23.
Yeah.
Han Solo and Rey, obviously.
You could also go with.
Don't know that that's true.
Kind of like a father figure to her.
Could also go with Django and Boba Fett.
Well, for like a son.
Well, father daughter.
Oh, I mean, it's a clone.
I mean, I don't know a lot about Boba and her identity, so yeah, it could work. What were you going to say, Kimber?
Jokes about the
Little Miss Sunshine's another good one too.
Yes.
Billy also pulled I Am Sam in the chat.
Oh, that's a great one as well. And thanks, guys, for hanging out with us for a little while on YouTube and on Twitter. We appreciate it. So let's do another speed round real quick. Tom and Kimber, why don't you pick one? We got Humbug, Cartoon Villainy, Everybody Cut, and Party Like It's 2017.
I'm going to go Humbug because I won't let Kimber have her Christmas tree yet.
Nice. You're a horrible person, Tom. No.
I know.
This is why you never win. No, I'm kidding.
It's not even Thanksgiving.
So the humbug question was, what is the best version of A Christmas Carol? And this actually is a
Scrooge.
I knew that was your pick. But the reason this question even came up in the first place was I'm a fan of the George C. Scott version. My wife is a fan of the Alistair Sim version. And the other day, she held up the DVD case. Fortunately, I don't have next to me at the moment, but Leonard Maltin's review of the Alistair Sims movie is right on the top, and it's basically like you haven't seen a classic version of this film until you've seen this version, or something to that effect.
I will go with the Mickey Mouse one.
I'd go with Scrooged.
Yes.
Scrooge with Bill Murray.
Yep.
And what are you holding up? Is that the same one?
Blu-ray of Scrooge.
Nice. So I like this one because there were plenty of answers, and I knew everybody would come up with one. And if Kimber was fighting this, we'd be fighting Muppets versus a version of A Christmas Carol, which will be fantastic.
We would. Muppets is clearly the answer. If you don't watch that movie and like feel something, you have no soul.
The Mickey Mouse one, like I remember I have that on I used to watch this Christmas tape every day, even in the summer. My parents did not have the heart to hide the tape from me, even though my sister asked them to. And it had the Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol on it and a bunch of other little Christmas cartoons. So I used to watch that all the time as a kid. And that one is like some of the animation in it is really scary, like especially with I think like the ghost of like Christmas Future. And there's like some stuff like in the grave I remember as a kid being like really scared, but it's also so cute because it's got like like the little Mickey Mouse babies, Tiny Tim.
I also want to say that for the record, I do believe personally in my heart of hearts that Muppet Christmas Carol is the best Christmas Carol. But I knew Kimber. If I was fighting Kimber on this, she's way too quick on the draw. So I'd argue Scrooged because I think there's a solid argument for it as well.
I'm surprised no one's given love to the Patrick Stewart version of
that one's not too bad.
Of Christmas. It's actually not that bad, but when you've seen as many as we have at this point, all I see is
weird and creepy Jim Carrey one.
Yeah.
Say that.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Everybody forgot about that one.
We saw that one in the theater.
Yeah, I remember being worried.
I'm sorry.
Like, there's creepy stuff.
What did Tommy Lee Jones said something about him?
By your
sanction your buffoonery.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but it's so true. Sorry, Jim Carrey. Truman Show is not enough. So let's talk about round two. So round two would have been. Oh, I didn't write it on here. Was that going to be Garrett and Kimber?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So we were going to ask what film benefits the most from its amazing costume design. Kimber, what were you guys pick?
We were going to fight Star Wars, the original
A New
one,
Hope?
A New Hope.
So what was the crux of your argument going to be for that?
I mean, for me, it was going to be that you have to establish like all these different types of aliens and different places, and that they use the costumes to really bring you to a different world. Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, but Garrett is very young and he wasn't familiar with that.
I've seen it. It's just I've seen it one time, and it's when it first came out, and they're so long, and it's just I feel like it's such a commitment to watch all of them. But I had kind of been outspoken on Star Wars just because the story, without I mean, the costumes are just an element that makes Star Wars great, but it's a pretty standard story. It's just the hero's journey, pretty much to as a blueprint, and it takes things like the costume design of Darth Vader to really in the I would even count makeup and prosthetics and stuff as costume design, and that's what makes that movie stand out above just being a pretty fun space opera. It's like things like that make it something that permeates decades.
Like, especially if you look at just in the main cast alone, subtracting the humans from the equation with their cool outfits, you still have C-3PO, R2-D2, and Chewbacca. And that's intense. That Chewbacca costume is not like it's just like animatronics. Same with the C-3PO. And R2-D2 actually had someone inside of it. So
yeah, Kenny Baker, rest in peace.
Yeah, it's still technically a costume.
Yeah, when I was doing the research for that round, lots of good quotes from both the costume designer, I think Jonathan Mollo or John Mollo. Let me double check John Mollo, and then Ralph McQuarrie, who did a lot of the production design. One of the quotes from Mollo was like, "The audience mustn't consciously notice the costumes. If they do, you've gone wrong." And I had never even thought about the costumes in Star Wars like heavily before. I'm like, they just kind of like feel so like right for that time period. They don't stand out. And apparently there was some controversy with the Chewbacca outfit. Studio executives wanted him to have some shorts on because he's basically naked. So could you just imagine him with some little 1970s basketball shorts or something? And apparently the bantha is an Asian elephant that has a bunch of little furs and fake horns on, and it was so hot in Tunisia that he kept taking his costume off. He did not like wearing the costume, but lots of cool stuff, lots of World War II design aesthetics with the stormtroopers and with Darth Vader. So definitely a lot of care went into making that feel like a real world that...
We had thrown around the idea of maybe having Tron Legacy as a choice as well, because Tron Legacy is not a great movie, and that's where we were kind of like really emphasizing the benefits from, is throwing out something like Tron Legacy where you have not a good movie, but then you throw in this incredible costume design in that movie, and the special effects are pretty solid and pretty cool. So that's where we were really saying it benefits, because it's not great, but when you put in those great costumes, it's pretty watchable.
Yeah, and I was thinking when I was looking at the choices, so the Maltins were going to go with, this was a very difficult question, actually, because you could take this span all of movie history. So it's a very big question, and the nice thing about it is that there's plenty of answers to go around. They were going to go with Enchanted, which is one of my favorite Disney movies. It's a guilty pleasure every time it's on. I know all the music. No one should be surprised about this, but I do. So I think it would have been interesting to see the difference between Star Wars, which costume design is so good you don't think about it as being in that movie, whereas Enchanted throws it right in your face, and it's like, look at all our remaining costume designs. We have princesses, and here's the big dresses, and they even cut down the shears to make a dress, and the curtains or whatever.
The interesting thing we noticed about Enchanted when we were watching it was, like, think about the music number in the park when she's dancing around and all the random people start joining her on the music number. They're all like coordinated really well. There's the dudes in blue. There's just it is very good use of costume design.
Yeah, it looked like a very standard 1950s musical number with like everyone was color coordinated. And some other interesting facts that I found out, and I didn't even realize, I kind of noticed it, but I didn't realize it was an intentional choice. That in the very beginning when we meet Giselle, like when she comes to our world from the upside down or whatever you want to look at it, kind of joked about that when we were watching. Like she's dressed in, like, the dress itself weighed 45 pounds. It was like they had to teach her how to walk in it, and she's in this princessy dress, and then over time, like, her dresses become more modern until she comes to the king's ball and she's wearing a totally modern outfit because her experience in our world has modernized her thinking. But then Robert, played by McDreamy, which I can't remember his real name right now.
Patrick Dempsey. Patrick Dempsey.
like he like become like, you know, he's wearing like all these bland color, or not bland, but like very muted tones. And then when he comes to the Prince's Ball, like he's dressed in like this very kingly outfit, which is actually the same outfit that she dresses up her dream man in the animated sequence. Like her ideal true love is exactly the same outfit that he's wearing.
So he's become more of a romantic, where she's become more grounded in a modern world.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. And then the costume designer, Mona May, had to talk about, like, she had to design the costumes that would, like, look good in 2D animation, that could also be transformed into the real world, but also with Susan Sarandon's character, the evil stepmother, could also then transform and be her, like, final form as the dragon. So she had to put a lot of effort into it. And, like, the thing that I found most interesting was that this was not nominated for any kind of costume awards during that Oscar season. Elizabeth the Golden Age won that year, and the other nominees were like Across the Universe, Atonement, La Vie en Rose, and Sweeney Todd, which, you know, a lot of those choices make sense, but the fact that this was not
think the
even
Disney
nominated.
movie, the big production numbers and all that stuff would give them some kind of accolade.
They did get nominated for 3 original songs, so I guess that's where they got their.
And if you've never seen Enchanted, and again, I'm a guy here, if you've never seen Enchanted, it's a great movie. The music is fantastic. It holds up as one of the best Disney movies. So I highly recommend Enchanted. It's fantastic. Did the Twitterverse have anything to add, Joe?
Few suggestions here and there. Harry Potter is thrown out there, and then Molly is bringing up Strictly Ballroom. I had never even heard of that.
It's
film.
from Baz.
I've heard of Strictly Ballroom. I've never seen Strictly.
It's like one of his earlier movies.
Anything by Baz Luhrmann would be.
Yeah, Moulin Rouge has really nice costumes.
That
was
like
for me. Yeah.
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Jonathan, you weren't in this round. Would you have had a horse in this race?
Between Star Wars and Enchanted, Star Wars would have been my pick between those two. I was thinking Moulin Rouge when I first saw the question.
And to be fair, I think because there's other people talking about Lord of the Rings as well. I think two things that would have made Lord of the Rings a good contender are the hobbits themselves. All the work that went into making them look like actual hobbits. Because they were short guys to begin with, but it's not like Ian McKellen is legitimately a giant. So when you make anyone look like they're 3'7" next to Ian McKellen, that's pretty impressive. And then
since we brought up Lord of the Rings real quick, my argument with Lord of the Rings was going to be, again, that you have like all these diverse groups of people, and they really had to nail like aesthetically to make this person a hobbit the second you look at them. What is a Nazgul? You know, what is an orc? What is a wizard? And they really had to design all this stuff based on like Tolkien's work. And I think that was the one of the huge things that he knocked out of the park. And that later, you know, the movies like The Hobbit he did weren't as good. And it really fitted the original trilogy because they put so much work into that stuff. And that's why it suffered later.
As someone who's watched all like,
Sorry, Tom.
Go ahead, Tam.
No, I was just saying all the orcs chainmail was handmade, like every single one of them.
As someone who's watched all like 15 DVDs of the extended cuts for the special features, like they put, it's like 30 hours of special features. It's ridiculous how much time they put into like weaving Elvish script into every single costume for every single extra, and like it's ridiculous.
Ryan McKenna said one word: chainmail. He's with you on that, Tom. The other suggestions I've seen are Blade Runner and Mad Max. And I saw Mad Max earlier on. Mad Max, any of them with costume design. I would say Fury Road's
I really like that Blade Runner pick too.
With all the Fury Road's really good with all the war boys. But any Mad Max is good. And yes, either Blade Runner 2049 or the original were both really good. Set design and costume design, they did a good job on.
I was gonna say Flash Gordon because it's clearly making it in Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor Ragnarok today.
Yeah.
Flash. All right, guys. So let's do another speed round question. Garrett, why don't you pick one? We got cartoon villainy, everybody cut, or party like it's 2017.
My name's Garrett, and I like to party, so let's pick party.
I don't believe a word of that. Party like 2017. What is the best movie of 2017 that appeals? I never finished writing that question, guys. I just noticed it. It's not here anymore. It literally ends at what is the best movie of 2017 that appeals. So what's the best movie of 2017? Thank God no one picked that.
Yeah,
The Big Sick.
Literally where it stops.
For the costume design, Eric Asamacher said Avengers earlier. I missed it in the
Nice.
thing.
What's the best movie of 2017 so far?
Get Out.
Get
The
Out.
Big Sick. Hands
I'm
down.
hiding my actual favorite pick because I don't want to spoil it. But I'll say Lady Bird because I saw it last night.
Yeah, in the moment, I
Uh,
probably would have said something like Ragnarok. But I love Jonathan's choice. If he said The Big Sick and I didn't pick that, I would have totally like fumbled because I loved The Big Sick. I
Yeah.
watched it several times. That was an excellent movie.
My personal pick is Blade Runner 2047. But the other movies are probably way better.
49.
2047.
2049. It happened in the future.
Was there a
That's all
prequel that
that
came
matters.
out?
2049. 2040. Yeah. 24/7. Yeah, this is the prequel that was 2 years earlier where they were assembling all of them and they couldn't find all of his parts. So literally the movie is them going around shopping at vendors trying to figure out who has the synthetic parts to make K. So it was a very riveting film. I highly recommend it. 2047.
There is a
2049.
prequel though to 2049. It's an anime that was made by the same guy who did Cowboy Bebop. And if you haven't seen it, it's really, really cool. So check it out.
There's two others.
Yeah, there's
as
3
well.
total prequel shorts.
Yeah.
Are they considered canon?
Yes.
They're canon. Yes, so you can see he's
In
created it.
Yep.
Oh, do they? I didn't know that. Well, I never saw them, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you can find them online. They're not like they're free online.
In the chat real quick, we have Baby Driver, we have Lady Bird, we have Disaster Artist.
I'm seeing it on Tuesday. I can't wait.
I'm about to say, whoever picked the Disaster Artist, I hate you because you got to see it already.
Or you're just picking it to pick it.
2 days. I can't. I literally just got the book.
Shape of Water. I don't know if I brought that up.
Bastards seeing all these movies so early.
I know.
Sorry,
for them.
I'm trying to read everything and I'm just seeing titles and going. Get Out, Dunkirk are as well thrown in there.
The Last Jedi, why not?
Yeah.
Logan
Also-
Logan is brought up by Sam Anderson, and I also would go for Logan. Specifically, I really enjoyed the black and white version. It was beautiful.
I like the noir version, which you can get on the Blu-ray. It's really good. All right, so let's talk about our last round. Sorry, what were you going to say, Jonathan?
I was going to say really quick, huge shout out to my number 2 of the year that's quickly about to become my number 1. It's a movie called Columbus, directed by a director named Kogonada.
Columbus is a very lovely movie.
It's
Mr. Raw
incredible.
or Mr. Movies is also saying Raw.
Raw is so good. Yay. You
I
guys
miss
are
movies.
cool. You guys are picking cool movies. I like you guys.
I was gonna say Homecoming.
All right, so let's
It has the best villain in my opinion.
Homecoming.
see. I'm so not a
Yeah, we're gonna do like a big
fan.
fight with people about Homecoming because people are like, "Those kids aren't real." Like you don't. Okay, like I work in a high school.
Those kids are very
Those
real.
are very, very real. That's not how kids are today. Maybe it's not how kids are where you were in high school, but the high school that I teach right now, every year, kids are like that.
We know.
I just graduated high school like a few months ago, so I'm very they're like cool people.
We know that gym coach.
Oh my gosh, there's so many people. Like, oh no, stop! Don't. Where are you going? Or those PSAs? Those are the best. That's
And
pretty
I'm
a war criminal right now, but we're still showing this.
I'm too old to remember what high school was like. So round 3 was going to be our mystery round. Now, just so everybody knows, everyone got the answers for this round. So you might think this isn't going to be a mystery round, but let's talk about it first. We asked the question, which animated Disney character has contributed the most to modern Disney's success? So this is kind of a big question. I asked this question in a test group to just kind of see what kind of answers I would get, and everyone had a different answer, which was great. So this was going to be Jonathan and Kimber fighting. Which one did you guys pick? Jonathan, what were you going to pick this round?
Mulan.
Which I think is a great pick. They were going to go Cinderella, and I'm actually very interested to know what their argument was going to be about with Cinderella. But tell me,
figure out what it was based off the facts I found.
well, before you do, let me get a little bit. Jonathan, tell me a little bit about what your argument was going to center around for Mulan.
Well, this was actually Kimber's pick, which was phenomenal. So Kimber, explain, because this is a really good choice.
Yeah, to me personally, Mulan's a very important movie, especially coming out at the time and it did in my life because I was still pretty young. She was the first time I really saw like a badass female role model in a Disney movie, and I loved that they started out kind of with the normal Disney trope with her, and it feels like it's going to be a movie about her getting married, but it ends up being a movie about her being an awesome warrior who saves China. Clear predecessor to like characters like Merida and to Moana, who everyone knows is extremely dear to my heart because I find these role models for little girls to be watching and much more powerful than just like a Disney princess type character. And also just having some diversity as well in the beauty in this movie. I think there's a lot about we did to its success.
And would you have added anything, Jonathan, to that argument?
No, I'll just co-sign everything there. Also, I feel like the Maltin argument would have been somewhat tied to the string of live action movies we're getting. Just I was trying to think of how Cinderella applies to modern, which would have been an interesting fight to have.
Especially because they have such a depth of knowledge when it comes to Disney, which is why I was really excited to see it. Garrett, you didn't have a pick here, but would you have chosen someone different?
Yes, I picked Snow White. And even though Snow White is not a good character, she's not bad, but Snow White really kicked off Disney. Is how we know it today, and it was like their first live action animated movie, and that was a movie that really had the stick of the landing. So my initial pick was Snow White, just because it's such an important character in Disney's filmography. So is Mulan. These are all like really solid picks, and I'm so glad I didn't have to fight this. I was just gonna be sitting back with my popcorn just because the Maltins have such a vast Disney knowledge that I was just like, I'll stick to my costume design in my other fight. But yeah, you guys have fun with Disney. But I was really interested to see what their argument would be for Cinderella.
Joe and Ashley, this is the perfect time then to have you chime in. Ashley, you were looking up some facts about Cinderella, you said.
So apparently Walt Disney had not had a huge hit since Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Production had kind of halted for these big prestigious animated movies because of the war, and they released a lot of things like Melody Time and kind of these compilation movies. So Cinderella was kind of like we have to make this successful or we're not going to be making movies anymore. So like everything was kind of like hinting on Cinderella better be a success or we will go under.
It was their Final Fantasy, if you will.
Yes. And so like they were producing that and Alice in Wonderland at the same time. They had two different crews going, and it was basically like a race to see who would, finish first and then who would have the biggest hit. And Cinderella was a massive success.
Well, I'm glad that I didn't pick Snow White then, because that like totally destroys my argument. Like Snow White, obviously, even though it was a big deal, it didn't do anything for them, and it took Cinderella to save the franchise. So.
It was a huge hit, but that was kind of like a not like a once and done, but that was like Snow White, and then the war was happening.
Yes.
So the war happened.
What's up, Tom?
What I do like about Garrett's is it kind of established like everything that like is necessary to have in a Disney movie. Dead parent. Green means that there's a villain. So if it's green smoke or green fire, so like it did like pretty much set up the tone for every future Disney movie.
Yeah, where my argument was really lying with Mulan was I feel like Mulan was like taking the kind of formula and then like bringing it into the future, because like really how many like generic kind of Disney princess stories can you have? Like Mulan really did something different, and I think led the way to what they're doing nowadays with their female character leads.
I think she wasn't sleeping the whole time.
Yeah, there's definitely a strong argument for that. Because the what they were originally going to do with Mulan, it was actually going to be, it was like two different like ideas were going on. There's the Ballad of Mulan poem, and then there was this other story that was way worse, where it was like this oppressed Chinese character is going to get rescued by this prince from the United Kingdom, and that was going to be the story. Ooh. I'm like so glad they didn't go with that, because the Mulan story is like such a stronger stronger one. She's their first Asian heroine. She's one of only 2 Disney princesses to wear pants. Her and Princess Jasmine. Everybody else wears dresses. So
Szechuan sauce, you know, don't overlook Mulan.
Oh, jeez.
And then the other thing about Cinderella, it's kind of in the golden age of Disney animation where they were taking a lot of risks, but then after Cinderella, they're very formulaic stories. So it's kind of the bridge between like the golden age and then what came after. And of course, Disney did have, you know, like has had several slumps in its period, whereas like Mulan's considered to be part of the Disney Renaissance, which I think started with The Little Mermaid. Where
I was going to say there's a slump in the middle there with Hunchback of Notre Dame.
How dare you?
We have some good polls in here as well. Alice in Wonderland was brought up, but it may just be commentary. There's a lot of love for Belle in there.
My least favorite movie is Beauty and the Beast from Disney. Just so you know.
How
The live action.
dare you?
Wait, hold on. Let's clarify from Disney.
No, like in the Disney animated pantheon of movies with princesses and stuff like that, I just do not like. I don't like Belle. I don't like that movie, and I don't like its live action.
But she doesn't make as much of a statement as somebody like Mulan.
And also, like
no.
with Mulan, there was a lot of I could learn culturally, and all the other Disney movies pretty much take place in European places. But Belle, being French, I didn't know much about France except for Bonjour. You know what I mean? Like I learned stuff from Mulan.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say that's the thing. Mulan's one of the rare occurrences too, where you have something that's of a different background. Like there's also Aladdin and Pocahontas are going to be my other comparative examples in this. In Mulan, it's not just some like we're blending all of these traditions together in one thing. A lot of the stuff in Mulan is purely Chinese. But when you get to Pocahontas, it's like they mishmash like 30 different Native American cultures into one, and then still, for lack of a better term, bastardize it. And then in Aladdin, they don't even really address anything culturally in that.
Well,
it's just like
Except for in really negative ways.
That's the first place I heard
it's a real country.
Yeah.
Like, are you from Arabia or Agrabah? Like, we have a teacher that's of Pakistani like heritage, and she got asked that. Like, no, that's not.
I think it was last year.
Don't do that.
No, okay.
don't do that story. Just so you know, guys, because it's the mystery round, obviously, I was going to have a plot twist. So the plot twist today was going to be because you had all picked some female characters as your, the most contributing. I wanted to know also a male character that also contributes to Disney's new modern image. So which character who's male would you have chosen to fill that role? I'm going Mickey Mouse.
Animals?
Sure, Mickey Mouse is a mouse.
Yeah.
I assume he's a mouse. He does so many things. He's a sorcerer.
I don't know my Disney history well enough, but what would be the first male-led movie in the Disney Renaissance?
Is there a male-led movie?
There's like
Aladdin.
Lion King or Aladdin.
Yeah, Aladdin.
Yeah.
90s.
Aladdin.
Yeah, I think Mickey Mouse is the right answer, but off the top of my head, I probably would just go Aladdin.
I would say Maui.
Yeah,
there you go.
That was good. I was gonna say Genie because Genie doesn't take things too seriously and has a very good moral compass. He wanted her not to lie to wanted Aladdin not to lie to Jasmine the entire time.
Yeah, my problem with Maui is Maui a lead, though, because he was really a sidekick to her, and I think that's one of the best parts about Moana, so I wouldn't want to, like, take away from that movie by calling Maui a lead, you know?
Genie's not a lead either.
And I like Woody as a pick because Woody was... Here, Jonathan, you tell a little bit why you would pick Woody.
Well, it's the first Pixar movie, and I feel like Pixar is was the reinvigorating of Disney as kind of stretching it beyond the standard Disney animation studio model. It's Pixar that up until recently was churning out the most cutting edge and most groundbreaking animated movies. So I felt like going with kind of the OG, and it was a toss up between Woody and Buzz Lightyear, but I went with Woody, would be the right way to go there, because it led to us getting movies like WALL-E and Up and the rest of the Toy Story trilogy and Monsters, Inc. and The Incredibles that have set the standard for animated movies for the last couple of decades.
So let me ask a question then to you guys. So without Pixar as a movie studio and then as an acquisition by Disney, does modern Disney have the legs that it has now without what Pixar gave it?
Are we talking completely like just Disney Studios or sans all the crap they've purchased?
Yeah, like
I was about to say, because they own everything.
Well, they own everything now, but Pixar was pretty much, and of course the Maltins would have better history on this. But if I'm not mistaken, Pixar was the first really big purchase for Disney that I think enabled them to elevate what they were doing in animation.
Well, technically, like Pulp Fiction is technically a Disney movie because Disney owns Touchstone, right? Touchstone's the name. Yeah. Like they've got a massive pantheon, even pre-Pixar.
Well, I know that Disney like animated films at the time that Pixar was really relevant. They're not great, and to the point where now I feel like it's kind of flopped. I feel like a lot of the Disney animated movies that come out, like post Princess and the Frog, have been much stronger than Pixar. Barring Inside Out, they've really dropped the ball pretty recently.
Well, we've used up all the ideas that they came up with at that dinner meeting.
Yeah, like that original short list of ideas. But I hear Coco's great, and I'm really excited to see that.
I'm a little like amazing too, because like I love Moana. If you ask me personally what I think the best Disney movie of all time is, I'm gonna tell you Moana, and I have lots of reasons. I could fight that very passionately all day. But I don't know if they would have, like, the animation is gorgeous on Moana. It's outstanding. Like, it brought tears to my eyes. It does every time I watch it. But I don't know if they would be able to pull off animation like what they did with the water in Moana without having done the Pixar movies.
Yeah.
For me to even, like, use that as part of an argument of, like, oh, Disney's doing so great because they have Moana. Without Pixar, would they have Moana?
Well, heck, like Moana's not even hand-drawn anymore besides Maui's tattoos, where Toy Story uses computer generation and just kind of opened the doors for that besides just doing these little, one-off shoots.
Absolutely.
And that was the other side to my argument, was the computer animation element of Toy Story setting like a new bar.
So it would have been interesting then to see how you would have combined your second pick with your first pick to kind of like wrap it all up, and then who would have won. So maybe we'll save that one for another time, because I think Disney gives us a plethora of options for this kind of thing. So that would have been our full fight. But since we're doing this little special thing, why don't we just do one more of our speed rounds, because Jonathan didn't get to pick one. You have Cartoon Villainy and Everybody Cut, Jonathan.
Everybody Cut.
Great. You picked the one that was fan submitted. By the way, round one, David Bowman, you submitted that question. Thank you very much. The father-daughter relationship, that came from you. I forgot to plug you. Thank you for submitting. And this one comes from Billy Polihan. So
as a side note, Eric Ossenmacher might literally cut Jonathan because he's been cheering for Cartoon Villainy since the very first.
I'm sorry.
I'll read that question. We can do them all. There's only 5. Okay, so Everybody Cut. So this was suggested by Billy Polihan. Thank you, Billy. Best musical dance number in a film.
Beetlejuice, the possession dancing.
Oh, so good. That's a great answer. I'd probably go Make 'Em Laugh, Sing in the Rain.
That's a good one.
Get Me to the Church, My Fair Lady.
Also a good one. The time of my life, Dirty Dancing.
Now, Jonathan, I'm just going to remind you that you defeated me on fan fights with La La Land. So to not mention a La La Land pick right now.
Well, I mean, the first thing that came to my mind was Another Day of Sun, but Spectacular from Moulin Rouge would have probably been my pick.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We go together from Greece for Raul. I'm just going to say it. He's probably going to pick that one. But excellent picks. So tell me a little bit, Kimber. Fight it real quick. Tell me a little bit about the best dance number. Excuse me.
Man, I mean, what's not to love about that? It's so different. It's a huge standout part of that movie. There's no other dance scene like that. It's a spirit dancing through people. Come on now.
Garrett.
Make 'Em Laugh is not only a hilarious musical number, and I think that that's a key part to being a good number. It has to be a good dance number and a good song. And Make 'Em Laugh is also a really good song. It's also a pretty deep song about the entertainment industry and kind of like subverting the norms and just wanting to make people smile. And I think it's O'Connor. Or Don, yeah, I think that's his name. He just gives such a great physical performance in that song. It's a great, great dance number.
Joe.
So with this one, it's a hilarious romp starring, or not the movie, but this particular song with the main character's father, Alfred P. Doolittle, who is kind of a shiftless vagrant in like Industrial Revolution era England. And it's singing about him marrying his like fourth wife, and how he's like just this, he's like this scummy booze hound, like blue collar worker who's like kind of just fun. And it's, you know, him singing that God, for God's sakes, get me to the, and it's like in the middle of this huge work zone, like a construction zone. So at one point he's marching up a plank and it slips down like a seesaw would, and it clocks another dude in the jaw while he's still marching around singing this song, and all sorts of chaos ensuing around, like a Rube Goldberg device, but to music.
Nice. Ashley.
All right, so mine is the culminating number of the movie, and like her summer in the Catskills. They pull off that really awesome move that they've been working on to impress everybody, where she jumps and like Johnny Castle catches her, and everyone's so happy. And it's such an upbeat song, and she really did have the time of her life, you know, minus all the horrible subplot with Johnny Castle's girlfriend that, you know, had to go see her dad and stuff. So just forget that part happened.
The commercial starring He-Man and Skeletor version of that is better.
No, it's not.
Nice. Jonathan.
The beauty of musical numbers in dance routines within musicals, to me, is how it can encapsulate like the entire mood of the movie, like a way it can bring everything together. The beauty of The Pitch from Moulin Rouge is that it takes all of the aspects of the movie, the darkness, the romance, and just the bleep insanity of the movie, and tosses it all into one LSD trip of a routine. Baz Luhrmann is better at setting up scenes than most directors out there, and the ability for him to really, really dive deep and unleash the full just ferocity of that movie is why that dance number sticks in my head so much.
These are all good picks. Nicely done.
So
Joe.
On Twitter, real quick, and then
I was going to ask.
We have some very interesting ones that like. First off, David Bowman, thanks you for bringing it up, and I'm sure Billy heard.
Thank you guys, both of you.
Sam Catlin is pulling from Boondock Saints the "Stuck in the Middle with You" scene. Make 'Em Laugh is
Nice.
Kate Geyer's Rocky Horror Picture Show. The Time Warp from David Bowman.
Oh, that's a great pick.
David, yes.
I also like Singing in the Rain from Clockwork Orange. That's also a very good one.
So Billy and Kate
dark.
are also in the YouTube chat, literally singing "You're the One That I Want" in the YouTube chat.
You're welcome, Raul.
And Raul is claiming "You're the One That I Want" is the Citizen Kane of dance numbers.
So since Eric wants it really bad, why don't we just do the last one as well? It's cartoon villainy. Who is the worst animated villain of all time? Animated
Rocket.
villain.
Rasputin.
Team Rocket. Ooh.
Rasputin.
From
the
Anastasia.
Anastasia.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Tom and Kimber?
Yeah, Team Rocket.
Team Rocket.
Team Rocket. Oh, you guys said Team Rocket. Garrett.
This really is showing how
If I
little
don't
know.
remember the name, can I just say like the character?
Sure.
Okay, the head of the evil corporation in Norm of the North.
The Evil Corporation. I don't think I've
Oh,
ever
why
seen
would
that.
you even pull that? This is a terrible movie.
But it's the worst villain.
Oh
I
man,
can't think of an animated movie worse than Norm of the North, so I just went with that one.
that's a really good one. I'm gonna
Radcliffe is bad too from Pocahontas. Sorry, Garrett.
no, they're fine. I'm gonna
go Bellwether from Zootopia, the little lamb that framed everybody.
I love that.
Jeez.
I'm gonna
Spoiler
set
alert.
expectations a bit here and go Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty.
Nice. The dragon?
No, well, I mean, technically, yes.
He's a dragon. You can't S on dragons, dude.
My thing is with her is her name is Maleficent, which is pretty much just like evil, and the most her character is given is I'm a bad guy, and that's just the stupidest thing. Even with Norman the North, they have some more motivation, even if it is ridiculous, and everyone should see Norman the North. That movie is amazing.
It's must see. It's a must see movie.
But Maleficent as a character is literally just I'm a bad guy, which is it's the dumbest thing in the world.
Tom and
I
Kimber.
disagree.
Throw out Team
to
Rocket.
speak on Maleficent, if you're gonna be called bad your entire life, you're bound to become bad. And the whole thing is she didn't get invited to the party. If they just invited her to the party, dude, it's their fault. They're the mean ones and judgmental. All right.
Team Rocket, they're not good at what they try to do. They never get anything right.
Specifically Jesse and James.
Specifically Jesse and James and Meowth. That's right.
They're good at surviving long falls.
They spend most of the time with a melodramatic like intro instead of actually getting anything done. So I don't think that they've been successful once in any mission ever.
Ashley and Joe?
What was the question?
I honestly
worst movie animated villain.
I honestly forgot my answer.
There's a different interpretation of worst, like who did the worst thing in Bellwether. She like blamed everything on all of the predators and like caused a lot of racism in Zootopia, and that's not cool, guys.
So you're going with actual monster.
I'm going with actual monster, the different semantic meaning of
Cruella de Vil, like her whole thing is to murder 100 puppies, which is real bad. So
she caused
So we're talking about villains.
Strife and tension, and that's not cool. People got blamed. That was not
too relevant.
It was a little too real.
What did people have to say on Twitter? Do they have some picks?
I was actually going with some of what's on the YouTube chat. So far, we have Raul says Ursula. I don't really disagree.
Blasphemy.
Different meanings of the word worst, guys.
Sam Anderson brought up James Woods' character in Final Fantasy Spirits Within. That's a terrible movie and it should never be talked about.
But that's an interesting
James
pull.
Woods in real life.
It's a villain.
Jonathan, let's see. Someone's pulling that Jonathan wins. Someone said Frollo, and I am apt to disagree. Frollo is a fantastic villain.
He was a horrible.
Which is Frollo from?
Billy Callahan said Kevin Spacey in real life. Ashley also just said that a second ago, but yes.
That was cool.
You're quoting? There we go. Team Rocket blasting off again.
If you're gonna go with the other meaning of worst, Dr. Claw.
Condiment King from Lego Batman.
Oh, come on.
I said condiment.
Tom wins.
But yeah, some of that. Let me check Twitter real quick. The witch from Black Cauldron, I think, or purple hair, purple skinned, dressed, everything from like an old Disney movie.
I think that's from the Black Cauldron.
Yeah.
Jared Leto from Suicide Squad, because you're wrong if you don't think that's a cartoon.
Nice.
Janine DeBean said Steppenwolf.
Because he is a cartoon.
That's true.
It's best animated villain. So
It's
like
the best animated villain. I didn't even say TV or movie. I don't think I did. Nope. So guys, that would have been our show. So thank you again if you were tuned in for this entire episode. We appreciate it. We apologize again on behalf of the Maltins that they could not make it today. Again, technical issues prevented us from getting that show on. We apologize to all of you guys who tuned in for that show, but we will try to get them on again in the future so you can see that amazing show. Thank you again to our panel for kind of putting this all together today and making something that we can entertain the fans with. I really appreciate it. Let's talk everybody's plugs real quick. Garrett, why don't we start with you?
You can subscribe to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/c/again, and then Garrett McDowell. I talk about movies. You can check out my newest review of Justice League, and I'll have a review for 3 Billboards, as well as Lady Bird and Disaster Artist coming very soon. You can subscribe to, or you can follow me on Twitter at Garrett McDowell1. Where I also just talk about movies, constant movie discussion all the time. And again, thank you for considering me to be on this show, even though it didn't fall through. I'm still very happy to be here. This would have been very fun.
And we thank you, dude, for coming back and being a part of it. You were originally supposed to be on this episode. You helped us with last week. I felt really bad not including you, so I'm so glad that you were able to come out. So thank you.
I think they're scared. I think the Maltins were scared, you know? Maybe
they said Garrett McDowell is the reason we're not showing up. That's the reason. So Jonathan Young. I'm sorry.
Watching this on YouTube right now, they're like, that son of a bitch.
Figured it out.
So Jonathan Youngblood, tell us where we can find you, buddy.
Follow me on Twitter at Youngblood_95. A new announcement. I've never announced this before. This is the brand debut. Starting in January will be the launch of my new podcast that I'm starting called the Christian Cinephile Podcast, intersection of art and faith that will be covering a lot of movies that a lot of religious podcasts aren't willing to talk about, which is going to be fun. And before we close, I just want to say that Jack, you are not only one of the nicest people I've ever had the privilege of meeting, and one of the best leaders I have ever encountered, but your dedication and your constant passion to be able to make things better, and your insight into really complicated and difficult issues is something that I think all of us here and on Twitter and on YouTube really appreciate. It's been a very difficult last couple months for this group, for YouTube content creators in general, and having your optimism and your passion driving everything forward has helped a lot of us get through the last few months. So
thank you.
Thank you for everything you do, and you have created something really great here, and I'm proud to call you a friend.
Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. And of course, I can't take all the credit for that. I mean, the people sitting in this chat right here, Ashley, Joe, Tom, Kimber, and Brian, who is not here, they all helped me make this channel a success and put on this show. So I can't take all the credit for this, but I appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much for doing that. Now I'm going to go cry while Joe and Ashley tell you about today's show.
Well, like Tommy Kimber should go next because they're like next in the line.
Oh, for me, the next in the line is you. That's the only reason I picked you. Plus, she's the champion. She should go last.
Oh, that's fair.
Fair enough.
Well, I'm Joe.
And I'm Ashley. You can talk to us on Twitter. You can where I'm at _Mrs. Davis.
And I'm at Drake Masters, but I'm thinking of changing it.
We also have our own channel called Geek to My Nerd. You can follow that on both YouTube, and our Twitter handle is Geek to My Nerd with underscores between all of the words.
Yep.
Later tonight on this channel, we will have our BFF over Paper Moon, where we'll talk about what we thought about that movie, some fun facts about it. It'll be kind of a different format since we don't have the true fan fiction to talk about. So if anybody that was on the fight wants to share their insight of what you would have said against Paper Moon, we could read it on the show.
Yep,
but other than that, we'll just be talking about, everyone's interesting suggestions for what we were going to review and just have a good old time talking.
Guys, thank you so much again for being our resident fact checkers. I know we've had others too, but you guys have always been there to really help us out, and we really appreciate you guys doing the show today. Thank you so much. And finally, Kimber, our TUFF champion, I'm going to put you to the test next year, so I hope you're ready. Tell everybody where to find you.
For sure. If you want to challenge me like everybody else has on Twitter, you can write me at Kimberbatch_OSP. You can also catch me on numerous shows on Odd Shaped Channel, which is Tom and I's YouTube channel, where we do many reviews and pop culture discussions with all of you guys. Today we have our Punisher
Odd Batch 2 batch. Our Punisher recap. We're going to do a speed recap, probably go through the entire season in about 2 hours, taking breaks between every 3 or 4 episodes to talk to you and let you guys call in, tell us what you thought about it. I'm still watching it. I even like it.
And the following week, we are going to be doing a Thanksgiving episode of Odd Shape Panel. So if you have any Thanksgiving questions, tweet me now. And I think that's about it.
Yeah.
oddshapechannel.com.
Yeah, good job. And a lot of people seem to enjoy the Odd Shape Plays Fallout Live last night, so we're going to do another one of those on Tuesday because we're giving Mormozone and Encrypted the week off since it is Thanksgiving. So
guys,
Joe's happy about it.
And just so you know, guys, Tom and Kimber started here with us, helping us run Fan Friction. Now they do their own channel, but we've just recently got in a great playlist on our main page down below somewhere. So if you want to check out some of their newest shows that are coming up, you can actually check that link. It'll send you right over there. So please definitely subscribe to them as well. Subscribe to Geek to My Nerds. Subscribe to Garrett's channel. And if you're looking to see other off-the-cuff fan frictions like this one, you're in the right place. I'm Jack Shipley, your host. You can find me on Twitter at 2008 or at the TUFF channel. And please subscribe and like our channel here for more great shows. This particular show is off for the rest of the year because there's lots of holidays and everybody's gonna be very busy, but we will be returning in either late January or early February. So please keep an eye on my Twitter for that, or notes at the TUFF channel's Twitter page. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for an hour. We really appreciate it. And guys, we will see you next season. Thank you very much and have a happy and safe holiday. See you next time.